Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast. So today I've been having a bit of a lazy day. I didn't really want to do much. I just stayed home for a bit, went for a walk, and I kind of enjoy having these days sometimes, but it kind of relates to what I want to talk about today. So today I want to go into one of my recent experiences with overworking myself mentally and having self-care days. So before I start, what ways do you practice self-care? I'm curious about how other people do it. For me, I'll probably get into it a bit in more detail. And if you've watched some of my vlogs, you might have seen how I handle my self-care days. Anyway, I think today I'm gonna speak a bit more from my experience because this really does vary depending on the person. So for me, I've learned over time that I'm a kind of person that's really empathetic. I'm empathetic to the point where I will get depressed on behalf of other people, and it's like I can absorb the feelings that people have. Like if someone is really depressed because of something that happened to them, I'll get really depressed as if it happened to me. And this thing, I consider it like both a blessing and a curse, because there are times where I do really appreciate that I'm like this, that I can really, feel for people. But at the same time, I'm feeling for people, and sometimes I add on to my own stress. I add other people's stresses onto my own stress. And it's kind of like one of the reasons why I can't really watch Korean dramas that often, because when I watch them, I'll go through a few days or a week of me feeling depressed, and then I realize it takes me a while to realize that I'm not actually depressed. I'm just I just feel like I'm depressed because of what's happening to the main character, and I got so attached to what's happening. So it's something that I've been trying to learn how to balance and overcome in myself. And yeah, I realize I tend to go through this cycle of getting overwhelmed mentally, and then I need to go through weeks, sometimes even a couple months, to overcome it and recover. It's not easy, and it sucks going through this kind of cycle. So recently I kind of just bounced back from one of these cycles, but this time I feel was the first time I ever handled it in an appropriate way. And I'll get a bit more into that. So what was happening was I was trying to I think over over several weeks actually, I've been trying to just help out and support some of my close friends. And of course this was online, so they'd text me whenever they need to talk. Sometimes I'll voice call some of them, and I was just trying to be there for them because I really did care about them, and I didn't want them to be sad. And especially most of them were pretty depressed. So I feel I came to realize that I was internalizing all of their issues, all of their depression as my own. And I didn't realize I was doing this. And after I'd say at least a month of doing this, I started getting kind of depression and anxiety building up inside of me. And I had no idea that it was going on and why it was happening until I spoke to someone about it, and they kind of helped me to realize what I was doing to myself. So this was actually the very first time I've ever done this, because I'm so bad at going to people for help. And I've spoken about this several times on my channel, that I really think that we need to seek out help from people around us and really have a support network. And I feel I do sort of have a support network over here, but I never seek it out. The only times I've ever done it is when they seek me out first. And I've been thinking for a while that I don't want to be that way anymore. I I've experienced so many times in my life that the longer I take to get help from someone, the longer it takes for me to overcome things. And I'm aware of this, so this was the very first time in my life that I seeked someone out and spoke to them about it, and it really helped to get it off my chest. And I honestly didn't realize what I was doing to myself until I spoke to them, and they kind of like, so one of the people I spoke to was my pastor, and I spoke to him. I told him like how I was feeling and stuff, and that, you know, I think it might be because like I've been helping my friends who are depressed. I've been trying to like support them and stuff, and he is like, I feel like you're the kind of person that internalizes people, like you internalize things, and I didn't think of it that way, and I realized like he's totally right. I tend to internalize everything, like literally like everything that happens in my life. I internalize it, and you know there are like positive aspects of this, but in this situation it was not a good thing, and it caused me to go into the state of feeling like this, and it's not a good thing. And I feel really proud of myself for finally being able to reach out to someone for the first time. And I'm really hoping that I can encourage anyone who's listening to be able to do the same. If you're ever going through stuff, like seek help from people. Don't suffer alone, because not only are you going to prolong it, but you might, more problems might develop from what you're going through already. And so like, after speaking about it, I realized that I do kind of need to get back on track. So this happened probably like late last week. So if you saw my vlog that I posted last Wednesday, you would have saw that I decided to have some like self-care days. And that was kind of like the aftermath of the situation that I went through. Yeah, I sort of like realized what I was doing to myself and what I had to do, and I really wanted to overcome this. So I decided I needed to have some, take some time for myself. Not really work on anything, and just, have some time to just relax and enjoy. And I did, and it was honestly amazing. And I realized that it's actually so extremely important, and I'm someone who always considers it a very important thing, but it's even more important than what I considered it before. It's crazy how much it can help you, and I've realized that like I need to take more time for myself, a lot more time. Like, not even if there's like times where I need to like vent to someone, I need to have time where I'm not like listening to someone's problems or venting my problems. Times where I'm just socializing, times where I'm just having fun, times I'm just relaxing and enjoying. Like, I think we all need that sometimes. We're not machines. So yeah, like this week I've been hanging out with people a lot more often, and I feel a lot better. Like a heavy weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Like so much better. And I just really realized how big of an impact it can really have on me. And I think one of the key things when having a self-care day, I think I would say this is pretty key for everyone, is to kind of like disregard productiveness. And this is something I do want to talk about in a future podcast, but I feel like people tend to like idolize productiveness, and especially right now when a lot of the world is in lockdown, people act like they have to be productive right now. If they're not productive, then they're being a failure. But it's like, you don't have to. We're all like struggling right now. Everyone is going through a hard time, and what you need more than being productive is just taking care of yourself, getting through this, because this is a really long situation that we're going through. Like, we're already almost at the end of September, and we've been going through this since about around March or something. So like, it's going on for a long time. Everyone is struggling. We're all having a really hard time, and the last thing you need is extra pressure on yourself. So you need to take it easy and really take care of yourself, but don't idolize productiveness so much. When you're having a day to take care of yourself, like one that's like set aside for the sake of your mental health or the sake of just de-stressing yourself or something, you have no reason to need to be productive. You don't need to have to get this whole list of things done. Even if they're for the sake of like self-care, if you happen to forget to, do your skincare routine or something on that day, so what? As long as you had a good time that day and you feel relaxed afterwards, that's all that's important. And self-care is different for everybody. So like there's no reason to be so productive all the time, but especially when you're setting apart this time for the sake of your health, your mental health, your sanity. Really, we're not robots. We're humans. We have emotions, we have feelings, and we have limits to the amount of like energy we can exert and the amount we can just do. So I think you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. I know a lot of people tend to like compare themselves to things, and they always think like I could be doing more. What I did is not enough. But you need to take a break sometimes. You're only human. Why do you need to always be so productive and always need to do so much? Think about it this way, like even machines, they need to take breaks sometimes, otherwise they could overheat. And these machines, they're made for one single purpose. How much more would a human need to take breaks? We burn out very, very easily. We have struggles, we have emotions, we have other things going on in our life. Like, if you think about it, maybe like using YouTube as an example, if you're someone who makes YouTube videos and you have like this schedule that you need to make a video on these days, and so you could be like, no, I need to make a video tomorrow, but you just happen to miss that video. That's okay, it happens sometimes, but you also shouldn't go so hard on yourself because we're not, for one thing, like I said, you're not a machine. You have things going on. Like I know people who have pretty serious stuff going on, like people who have like really horrible relationships with their parents or really bad situation at home, people who have really bad depression, people who have like health problems, and they still like expect themselves to stick to this like productiveness thing. Like, you have very valid reason to really apply self-care into your life, but you're still like considering yourself not good enough. But I really feel like if you're that kind of person, no matter how productive you are, you're always going to consider yourself not good enough. So I think what's more important than seeking this productiveness is instead finding a way to learn to accept yourself and to love yourself, because we're never going to meet these expectations. They're unattainable, and there's honestly just no point to them, really. Of course we want to get things done, we want to be able to do things, we want to achieve our dreams and stuff, but is it really worth it at the cost of your mental health, your physical health? I'd say to really analyze about how you feel about yourself. Do you really push yourself to always be productive? Like, why do you do that to yourself? Is there a reason that you have to be productive? Are the things that you're pushing yourself to be productive in, are they giving you anything in return? Because from what I've noticed, a lot of people, they do that with things that are like their hobbies, something that they want to, especially with creative people. A lot of creative people do this a lot. People who do like art and photography and filmmaking and stuff, they get very hard on themselves with productivity, and there's no reason to do that. It's meant to be a form of expression, a way to release yourself a bit, and you're kind of ruining it for yourself. Don't allow yourself to sabotage an outlet. Let the outlet be an outlet. If you don't get it done in time, that's fine. Take some time for yourself. Do things you enjoy. And if you've taken care of yourself and you're in a much more like healthy mental state, naturally you're gonna be more productive. If you're finding yourself if you're finding it harder for yourself to be productive, maybe think what's going on. Like what if maybe I guess this is more for people who have a history of being productive and then suddenly they're not productive anymore. There's probably something going on internally, and you have to just address that. Don't just like, instead of addressing it, you're just like putting yourself down, attacking yourself because you're not being productive enough. That's gonna get you nowhere. Instead of doing that, try to think what's causing you to feel this way, what's causing you to lose your motivation to be productive, and try to address that first. When you're in a more stable mental state, all these other things are gonna come more naturally to you. So try to address your mental state first before addressing these things, because you're only gonna be harming yourself further. So when it comes to dealing with these things, one of the things that I like to suggest, and it's what I'm talking about today, is having a self-care day. Or it doesn't even have to be like a day. Like, it could be like a night or something, like where you go to work or school or something, and then at the end of the day when you come home, you just have like a self-care night where you just have something, eat something good, do like some skincare or watch some movies, or just like whatever you like to do. And this really depends on the kind of person you are. The only thing I'd say to be wary of is doing things that are self-destructive. Don't do things that are harmful. There are things like using alcohol as a way to escape your problems or something. And this kind of situation, I think it kind of fits with a lot of things. Using anything as a form of escapism is going to very easily lead you to an addiction. And this is not just with alcohol, it can also happen with like gaming and with watching movies, with whatever. So I think just try to be mindful of what you're using to take care of yourself. Just make sure that it's not something that's harmful for you, not just with like your physical health, but with your mental health as well. So for me personally, when I have my self-care days, what I like to do is I really like to eat something really good. So either I'll go out somewhere and get some takeaway and bring it home, or I'll order some delivery food. And I really like to get something that I'm craving, or it's like one of my favorite foods that I haven't had for a while. I really like to do that, and I either like to have like a night of just like gaming or watching like a bunch of movies, and I just like sit on the couch the whole time and just relax and not do anything productive, like productive quotation marks, like because for me I feel like that is productive because the way I like to interpret productive is something that has a positive progress towards your goals or something. So when my goal is to get back on my feet, having a self-care day of just enjoying things that I like to eat and to do and to watch, I think that is productive for me, because I will be able to get back on my feet the next day. And sometimes that's just all you need. I know this one's a bit short, but I think that's pretty much it today. I'm feeling a lot better coming out of what I was going through. And I feel like I learned a lot about myself, especially like finally learning to rely on other people. And I really hope that you can recognize those people in your life that you can go to when you have stress and when you need to just vent, because it really helps you to get through things. We're not meant to go through things alone. Life is easier when you're in a team, I guess. Take some time, whether it's like a few hours, whether it's one night, one morning, one whole day, for some self-care. Try to make it a regular thing, especially when you are feeling stressed. And if you don't already do that, try to think about the things that you'd really like to do, things that you really enjoy doing, and you try to implement that. Plan it out as a day. Like say, this Saturday I'm going to reserve that just for me. Make it a thing for yourself. Plan it out. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.